And welcome to Flyers Game Day. Flyers Light After Dark, I guess we'll call this one. It's not fully, I guess it's dark. I mean, it gets dark at what, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon up there, Bry?
Something like that, yeah. I think my window's facing west, and it felt like the sun wasn't coming up till like 9 o'clock this morning. It's crazy like that. But yeah, we're way on up here, so it's can kind of mess with your senses a little bit.
You're like Al Pacino in the movie Insomnia, right? Turn your headphones down on that one headphones you have around your neck because it's recoiling into your microphones. I'm getting a little double dose of myself, which no one ever needs. But anyway, it's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, Flyers Game Day. They're going to wrap up this 4-game trip here today, Brian, in Edmonton against the Oilers. And you can't come up with a worse team to end a long trip on. It's been an 8-day trip. Yeah, it's only 4 games, but it's 3 games in 4 days. You're a little shorthanded. We'll get to some guys coming back in the lineup and some changes, but you're facing a team that you've got to have every ounce of your mental energy and faculties to deal with because of what they present you. That being said, they've only won 1 game in regulation since these two teams last played each other.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a different situation too because of the TK loss and stuff like that. But when you look at the way the Flyers had to play that game at home versus Edmonton, they had to play almost a perfect game just to get a 2-1 shootout win. So the most important thing they can do, regardless of who's on the ice, who's in the lineup, the most important thing they can do is to stay out of the box. Keep flashing this graphic up here on the scoreboard that is really rather ominous looking, pointing out that the Flyers power play is 32nd in the National Hockey League and Edmonton's is first. And, again, the Flyers did not give Edmonton a power play in that game, and that's the first step to success here tonight is to try not to do it again. And if you do give them a power play, it better be for darn good reason. This is not a game where you want to see offensive zone penalties. Let a guy go instead of tripping them and, fight the next battle. So, hopefully they can, try to apply what they did in Philly against this group and do it again here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big key in that other game. They never put that power play on the ice. And you only take a penalty if you're preventing an absolute goal. That's it. Yeah. Other than that, then they got a 1 in 3 chance because they click at 31.3%. On the power play this season. And to your point, the Flyers are clicking at 16.1%, 15.2 percentage points lower, which is almost unfathomable. But that's just a big component of this game and big key to that too, Bry, against this team. We saw it in that game a couple of weeks ago at Wells Fargo Center. Moving your feet is going to be paramount because of the speed, and puck support is going to have to be there as well.
Absolutely. And the mental aspect of everything that's involved in doing that, too. You got to be thinking about that all the time. Again, this is game 4 of a 4-game trip. Team's been on the road for a week. Second half of back-to-back, it is a little bit more rested than normal, just from the standpoint of the Flyers were in here last night by roughly 8:30 local time. It's not a situation where they got to their hotel room at 12:30 in the morning or anything like that. Still, it's going to be a tall order here. And, again, with the power play thing, it'd be difficult enough if the Flyers were healthy. A lot of people occasionally still forget that Travis Konecny has become one of the Flyers' most effective penalty killers. So, who's going to do it tonight? We might see Wade Allison get a crack at it. We might see a couple other guys step up. It's that next man up mentality of guys, perhaps taking an opportunity to do a little bit more with TK out of the lineup.
Yeah, let me get a little John Tortorella as Nathan R. Jessup in the locker room tonight. Who's going to do it? You, Kiefer Bellows. That's basically where they're down to here. I mean, I loved what they did on the PK last night, Bri, because they attacked Calgary like crazy on the PK. Now, they also knew they were getting really good goaltending. You assume you're going to get that tonight with Carter Hart, although he is playing in his hometown. It's been kind to him on occasion, but not all occasions.
Not all occasions, no. I mean, there's always a little pressure that comes with it, but I think for Carter, it's become more of an inspiration to do well rather than a distraction. I wish I could tell you the guy's real name, but one of the Edmonton Oilers assistant coaches that goes by Shorty is a really good friend of Carter's. I assume
That's Dustin Schwartz, our goalie coach.
I assume they must have crossed paths at some point there, and
he works out with them every summer.
Okay, so there you go. So just having things like that on the other side that make you want to kind of excel and stand out, and we know how well he is under pressure. So I expect a very solid game from him tonight.
Yeah, Schwartzy works out with Carter Hart, Tristan Jarry every summer, and he's. I know we were supposed to have dinner with him when Edmonton was in Philly, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, they're not only, he not only trains him and works him out over the summers and works on elements of his game. I know Kim Dillwall last year went up there on a couple of occasions to work with Carter and Schwartzy. You want your goalie coach, your team's goalie coach, and the goalie coach that you train with in the summer all to be on that same page.
Right.
So Schwartzy, and Dilly go up, and Dilly goes up and spends a week up there with him. So. But it is a good friend of his as well. And yeah, there's the element of, I want to beat my friend more than I want to beat any other opponent. You know what I mean? Because you hear about it in the offseason. If you don't, Flyers got that 2-1 win. They held Edmonton, the highest scoring team in the league, to 1 goal in that last game, including the extra session. And how about that glove save at the end in overtime by Hartsey? But Cliff messages into our stream and says, I hope Carter gets a shutout tonight in his hometown. Let's go Flyers. But boy, that'd be one hell of a feat to hold Edmonton to 1 goal in 2 games this year.
That would be something. That would be quite something. And again, last time he almost did it. It was a team effort in front of him. They're going to need him to be just as good, if not maybe a shade bit better than Sam Ersson was last night. It's just that's the kind of team you got going in front of you. But last time out, the Flyers were able to make Connor McDavid have to come back and defend a little bit. They had to draw him back below the dots in the defensive zone, and they hope to do that sort of thing tonight. Just not let him just kind of hover out in the neutral zone and wait to go, because he's dangerous enough when he gets the puck behind the red line. Behind the goal line. It's uncanny sometimes how good he is there. So you've got. They've seen him before, and I'm sure they all have some confidence after what they did in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. So, I think they're as well prepared as they can be, but it certainly is not an optimal situation lineup-wise here.
We talked about 4 elements last night after the game. My 4 biggest takeaways were obviously that Travis Konechny got injured, did not return. He will not be in the lineup tonight. The other one was that the other Travis Sanheim was where you're sitting last night, but he'll return to the ice tonight. He's not watching the game with Smitty and Borney behind you tonight. And Joel Farabee played .352 last night, and I said in the postgame show, reiterated today on Stick to Hockey, that I thought the decision on Farabee in this game would come down to the availability of TK. He'll be in. And then the other thing was that they attacked the middle of the ice after John Tortorella, on more than a few occasions, Brad said they were just doing too much on the perimeter, and they get all their goal scoring last night in the middle of the ice. And all of those elements, I think, are big aspects of tonight's game. They're the takeaways from last night, but they play a part tonight.
They absolutely are, yeah. And, again, just trying to play within your own strengths. Don't try to do too much against this team. Don't try to be a hero. Just do the kind of stuff that got you here, and, let some other teammates' strengths that might not be one of yours carry certain aspects of the game.
Yeah.
They did see a couple of times, Cam York jumping into the play last night, had a couple of scoring chances. And the thing with when York did that was he got up there and he would stay there for a little while.
He did.
And they're encouraging him to do that because he's got the legs to get back and cover when he, no matter how long he jumps in. Now, if he can get back and cover any team, this team, he can get back and cover any team. So
yeah,
that tonight to see if he's willing to jump in there and still do those things when McDavid is hovering around at the other end. So we'll see where that goes. But Farabee, I think looks like he's gonna work up on the third line tonight. and I'm sure that he'll play more than 3 minutes given the overall circumstances.
Yeah, 3 and 4 days. And yeah, I thought that, to your point, I thought Yorkie was really good in the game last night. And I did notice that as well, where he wasn't going in offensively and like kind of either like doing a drive-by or a hit and run. He was
Right.
in, and if I'm still an option and I can get to a spot where I can threaten to make a play to score a goal, then I got to stay in and keep the pressure on instead of just retreating to my blue line. And the other thing about Yorkie, I thought he was really good against this team when
Yeah.
they played last time. And it wasn't just the offensive part. I love the way he defended the blue line against this speed, too. So that could be an element in this game as well. So let's take our first time out. Brian Smith, he is at it's a Rogers Place now. It's not Rexall anymore, right? So you're at Rogers Place in Edmonton. This is a beautiful building, by the way.
It is. It's very big. Again, 2 teams play here. The Edmonton Oil Kings play here in the Western Hockey League. We are, though, very far back up here at the press box. So that's a little bit different than last night. We were hanging over the ice, not doing that here tonight. It's a gorgeous place. They've their locker room is I don't even have the words for what Edmonton's locker room looks like.
Taj Mahal.
I don't know if I have never been in the clubhouse at the Masters, but I bet it's probably something like that. I mean, it's great. So this is a fantastic spot.
No question. So it's Flyers-Oilers tonight. Let's take a time out here on the pregame show. It is Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway. We're back after this on the Flyers Broadcast Network. It is Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, getting you ready for Game 4 of this 4-game trip. Flyers will be back home on Friday to take on the Montreal Canadiens, and they'll have a back-to-back then Friday and Saturday. Saturday on the road against, is it New Jersey on Saturday, I think so?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see the Devils then. That'll be the next game against
That's
Eastern.
if I don't go there.
Yeah, Prudential Center.
Yeah.
It's not a town. It's an exit.
I'm tapped out on there for my career, I think.
Now, Bryce, since these teams played last, which was February 9th, Thursday, February 9th, less than 2 weeks ago, about, 12 days ago, Edmonton, in their next game, went to Ottawa, got a 6-3 win. Then they've lost now 6-2 on the road against Montreal. They lost at home 5-4 in a shootout against Detroit. They lost 5-4 in a shootout against the Rangers at home. And then they lost 6-5 in overtime against Colorado, blowing big leads. And they get the Flyers tonight. So they have not had a lot of success since that Flyers win 2-1 in the shootout, although they've gone to past regulation a bunch. But that being said, they're a team that is in a dogfight for the playoffs. They're a really important game for them tonight, like it was Calgary yesterday.
It is astonishing to me, with as many goals as these guys score, that they give up about an equal amount. I mean, it's not quite dead equal, but there's one stat that jumped out at me when I was looking through things earlier. The Flyers have scored 53 goals in the second period of games this season. The Edmonton Oilers have scored 85 goals in the second period of games this season. That doesn't sound good, right? When you hear it on the surface. The Flyers have given up 53 goals in the second period, so they're dead even. for and against in the second period. The Oilers have given up 80 goals, 8-0 in the second
Jeez.
period. So I don't know what it is about those middle frames. I mean, this team had, even a, halfway, mostly decent defense. I mean, they'd be unstoppable with what front. But that's the nature of the salary cap. You got to pick and choose, and they right now they've certainly obviously chosen the offense, and they've got another 10 days here, not even, about 10 days till deadline to try to figure out what they're going to do. Because, they right now just they're it doesn't seem to matter how many goals they score. Sometimes it's just about can they keep the other team from scoring just as many?
Yeah, I mean it brings up the question: Can you pay $21 million of a salary cap and build a team? Because look, Draisaitl's coming up after next year or 2 years. He's at 8.5 now. That's a bargain for him.
Yeah.
Total bargain for what he delivers. McDavid, though, 12.5.
Right. Again, we talked about it yesterday with Calgary. You had all the way they were scoring last year. It gets split up now. Neither of them have been here. I know Leon Draisaitl is a tremendous player. I just would be very nervous about what he looks like when he's not playing with Connor McDavid. That just kind of eats at me. So again, I don't think it's anything we're going to have to worry about the Flyers. But whoever's looking at him, if he doesn't stay here, it's something that would really give me pause.
Yeah, a couple of that, and they signed Darnell Nurse to a $9.25 million AAV. You go, wow, man, that's a lot of donuts locked up into just 3 guys. And can you build a team?
Especially him.
That doesn't make sense.
He's got. I don't have the analytics in front of me. He's a plus 16, so he's got decent numbers overall. But he, for that price tag on this team, he's got to be like the defensive stud. Like he's got to be the guy you can put out there.
Give me Chris Pronger.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know.
And he's not.
And then we were talking earlier this week when all of a sudden these rumors started floating around that they were going to try to get Erik Karlsson. No. That's what this team needs. So they need to find a guy that can just. And we've seen it with the Flyers too over the last several years, where if you get one guy that slots in at the top of your D and gobbles up 29 minutes a night, it also allows you to slot everybody else maybe more closer to where they should be.
Yeah.
So, if the cure is that simple for the Oilers, you got to figure out a way to do it. I don't know if it is that simple, but you've got obviously these offensive riches. From my view, I got to get rid of one of these guys just to get this defense shored up.
I mean, they also have $7.6 million beyond this year tied up in goaltending. $5 million for Jack Campbell, which I think is too much, and then Stuart Skinner's extension kicks in at 2.6, and to me, that's a lot of money for very mediocre goaltending. But that's
again 3.39 for Campbell, 2.95 for Skinner. You figure out a way to get somebody back there with even a 2.5. This team would be very, very difficult to deal with.
Yep. But we'll see how it plays out and see if they can buck the trend that's been so far. And the Flyers have to deal with them tonight and deal with all that offense. And we'll see if they're able to do it tonight to the same efficacy, which they did just 12 days ago at Wells Fargo Center, when not only did they get a rare shootout victory, but they also held Edmonton. I mean, a 3-on-3 overtime with McDavid, Draisaitl, and the pieces they have to survive that.
The thing, like, how is this team not winning every damn overtime they play? I just don't.
Yeah.
And what we're told, talking with some of the folks around here, it seems like everybody's strategy against them in the overtime is to just not even try to advance the puck. They just hold it until those guys get off the ice, and then they might something like that. And there was even just in discussion of folks around here today, it's like this shootout, the overtime need a tweak where once you've advanced the puck into the zone, you can't back out.
Like a backcourt violation in basketball.
Something like that. Does it need that? I don't know. It's
I think it does.
Tweak for one team, but there's a lot of that going on. That could definitely help make that overtime a little more exciting toward what the league was hoping it would be when they put it in.
Yeah, well, when it first came in, I think it served its purpose, and it was. But then coaches got in the way, and they ruined it, and it became all about possession. And now you have this. It's not in the spirit for with it was instituted. My tweak to the 3-on-3 overtime would be to tweak it right out of the stinking game. How about that? Along with the shootout, they can have a package deal, and they can both exit together.
By the way, the 50-50 here is already up to $265,000.
All right, go buy a ticket. Maybe your last road trip if you win it.
That's another Canadian oddity is how much money these 50-50s make.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. You got to consider the exchange rate, and I don't mean because you'd have life-changing money that you wouldn't have to work again. Borny sitting next to you would kill you if you went on your first trip in this season. Oh. They'd be so angry with you. Let's take our last time out here on the pregame show. We'll give you the line combinations. No TK tonight. Travis Konechny. We'll be back right after this as the Flyers get ready to take on the Edmonton Oilers right here on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Flyers Oilers tonight, coming to you from Edmonton, Alberta. Last game of this 4-game road trip. And Bry, we know no TK tonight, favoring that arm, shoulder, collarbone. I'm not sure what it is. He's going to get further evaluated by his doctors once you guys get back. But he's not in the lineup tonight. So here's the line combinations, courtesy of Olivia Reiner. Flyers from warm-ups tonight. Noah Cates centering Scott Lawton and Wade Allison. That's an interesting line to me.
Yes, it is. The wisdom there is that, okay, you've got Lawton and Cates on the same line. That is a line that you could put out against McDavid or Draisaitl's line, depending on who's out there.
And Lawton can take face-offs.
They can both take, Lawton can take the face-offs. And, Wade yesterday, had mostly hot, some cold game. There were a couple of times when he went in there and did some stuff that got him screamed at, and then he went right back out there and did some stuff right. So I just want him to be hard to play against, and again, not try to play beyond his game. Do what he can do, and then don't try to do too much.
Well, one line that has been successful for the Flyers is Morgan Frost centering James Van Riemsdyk and Owen Tippett. That line's together tonight. And with Scott Lawton playing the wing, that opens up a center spot, and it's not for Joel Farabee to remain there. It's for Kevin Hayes to move back into the middle. He's going to be centering Farabee and Lixell, which is also an interesting line. Then you have Brown, Bellows, who draws back in, and Nick Delarier on the fourth line. Here's your D pairs. Provorov playing with Sanheim. Sanheim going to come back into the lineup, right, and play the right side. That's interesting to me.
I don't know how much you noticed if you could see it the other night when they played 11-7, but Sanheim was playing. When he was out with Braun, he was playing the left side.
Yep.
But he went out with Proby, he would play the right. So he did a little bit of both in that game in Vancouver, and they're gonna lean on him to do it again.
York going to play on the left tonight, along with Rasmus Ristolainen, and Nick Seeler going to play on the left with Tony DeAngelo on the right. And getting your start in net tonight will be Carter Hart. Sam Ersson, a curse went yesterday, got the win, his 6th in the NHL, becomes the 8th goaltender in NHL history to start his career 6-0. So it's Carter Hart in his hometown tonight. He scores from Sherwood Park, Alberta, which is not far. How far is that from Edmonton, downtown Edmonton?
30 minutes. It's not that far. It's due east of here. Yeah, it's pretty close.
So that's like Westchester to Philly.
Yeah, give or take. More straight.
Okay.
There's nothing to drive around out here except there's a river, I think, that goes through the city. A
river runs through it? Is that where that was filmed?
Something like that. I went out to a mall in West Edmonton today, and I know that we couldn't just go straight there. We had to go down, turn. So, but there's not a lot out here that you have to drive around. That's for sure.
In that weather, you just don't want to get out of the car.
No.
So it'll be an interesting matchup tonight with these two teams who played 12 days ago, and it'll wrap up this 4-game road trip for the Flyers, 3-4 as well. Some fresh legs come in to some extent with Sanheim and Bellows, so that could help.
Yeah, and again, I'm watching this Lawton and Hayes thing because, the idea of Kevin Hayes playing center against this team gives me angst. But I think if they see a couple of close calls, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lawton drop back to a center position or something like that, just to get Hayes back out on the wing. We'll have to see where it goes, but I think obviously they're going to try to get Lawton and Cates out against whatever offensive force is out there as much as they can.
See, the interesting thing about that is that in the last game, Cates played 24 of the 28 shifts against Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
And Lawton played the bulk of his shifts against Leon Draisaitl because they weren't on the same line.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that Draisaitl line. Does he want that Hayes unit out there against them, or does he want Frost, Van Riemsdyk, and Tippett out there against Draisaitl? I don't think Draisaitl looks right, by the way. He's dealing with something.
And they're playing 11-7 too, by the way, tonight, or the Oilers. Okay. That's a fairly standard thing for them.
And they get last change here too, Brian.
But that's exactly what I'm getting. What I was about to get at is
a
little bit of a different animal here, just because you can't really match lines when you're on the road. At least it's hard to do it. So you just maybe put your eggs in one basket and hopefully get what you need there. We'll see how it goes, but it very well may change over the course of the night.
Yeah, and when you're running 11-7, anybody can jump over the boards at any time too, which is amazing. Going back to those numbers you brought up about the second period with the long change, that they haven't been able to exploit that more.
Yeah, and when you have 11-7, it's beneficial if you have a horse that you want to play the whole time. Flyers don't have that up front, so it doesn't do them much good just to play 11-7 for the fun of it. There's usually some other reason for them to do that. But here in Edmonton, I want all the defensemen I have at my disposal just so I can play the ones that are doing well, because that's really the problem here.
Yeah, you could have that in-game feel. I thought the Torts maybe would go at 11-7 tonight without Travis Konechny in the lineup, but he opts to bring in Lixell, comes back in, and Kiefer Bellows draws back in, so it'll be the standard 12-6. Speaking of standard, nothing standard about Tim Saunders and Steve Coates. No, they are in the house, and they have got the countdown to face off, and that'll be followed by all the first period action between the Flyers and the Oilers. Flyers going to wrap up this trip tonight. Can they do it with a victory? Stay tuned and find out. Tim Saunders, Steve Coates coming up right after this. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.